Welcome back to today's webinar here at BINA. So on Monday, we discussed the first step in preparing oneself for the giving of the Torah, understanding that in 2 weeks from now, less than 2 weeks from now, on the holiday of Shavuos, we will all receive the Torah once again, and it happens every single year. It's like God appears to us on a yearly basis and gives us the Torah. Bearing that in mind, we need to prepare ourselves. So on Monday, we discussed step number 1 in that preparation, which was to do nothing, which obviously wasn't just to do nothing, but that represented putting yourself on the side, realizing that the Torah really is not just an academic exercise. It's something which really transcends us, and we need to sort of go out of ourselves. We need to negate ourselves in order to truly have a connection to the Torah. And that's why when they first arrived at Mount Sinai, they didn't do anything, they weren't taught anything. The concept behind that was to express and to bring out to the Jewish people that what they're about to experience is something which is really beyond them and totally higher than any of their limitations, and therefore studying and preparing themselves not enough. The first step is to negate oneself and to go out of oneself. Having said all of that, obviously, preparing for the Torah includes preparing yourself. Not only negating yourself, but then bringing yourself back into the picture and properly preparing oneself for receiving the Torah. Because together with the fact that Torah is God, is godliness, and learning Torah is connecting yourself to God, it's also, and God put himself into what? He put himself into wisdom, into the wisdom of the Torah. Understanding wisdom necessitates that we should be part of the picture, that we should learn, we should study, we should be part of that experience. So after step number 1 of negating oneself, now we need to bring ourselves back into the picture and actually prepare ourselves to receive the Torah. What happened over the next 5 or 6 days till receiving the Torah from the first day of Sivan, the order of when exactly it happened is slightly complicated, and therefore we're going to leave out the order and just discuss what happened and try to learn lessons how we can now prepare ourselves for the giving of the Torah. One of the things that happened after that first day was that God sends a message through Moshe Rabbeinu to the Jewish people. Famous words which changed us forever. Va'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim v'goy kodesh. And you shall be for me a priestly nation, or a priestly nation of kings. V'goy kodesh, and a holy nation. With these words, the Jewish people became what we know as the chosen nation. And what we need to examine today is, first of all, what exactly does that mean to be the chosen nation? But also, why is that linked and come together, or as a preparation for receiving the Torah? Every day, in the blessings before Shema, in the morning prayers, we say the words, Uvanu v'charta mikol am v'loshan, that you chose us from all other nations. In the Jewish code of law, in Shulchan Aruch, it says that when one says those words, one needs to have in mind what? Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. For some reason, these two concepts are linked. Us being the chosen nation and us receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai. Why? Both obviously very powerful, but why did these two things need to come together? So first of all, what does it mean to be the chosen nation? Does it mean that we're better than everybody else? Does it mean that there's something good about us and that's why God chose us? So we have spoken about this before on a webinar, just briefly, this idea once again. Being the chosen nation, by definition, actually means that we were chosen not because we were better or did anything to deserve to be chosen. Chosen means choice, free choice. Nothing about us compelled God to choose us. As Moshe Rabbeinu actually tells the Jewish people in the last book of the Chumash, in the Chumash Devarim, where he's giving his final speech, he tells them, don't feel too good about yourself that God gave you the Torah and that God chose you, because actually it has very little to do with you. Not because, says Moshe Rabbeinu, not because you were better than all the other nations God chose you, rather because God chose you, for no reason. In other words, there's no specific quality that we had that God liked, and therefore He chose us. And therefore, it's not a reason to walk around and feel better than anybody or look down on other people, because it actually had very little to do with who we are or were. The fact that God chose us for reasons known to Him, or actually beyond reason. He just chose us. What were we chosen for? We weren't chosen just to be good people, good and decent human beings. To be a good and decent human being, you need to be just that, a human being. Every single human being, Jewish, not Jewish, whatever religion they are, whatever they are, whoever they are, is expected and needs to be and can be a decent human being, and are decent human beings. There are many decent human beings in the world, of many different types of people. Being chosen was not only for that, obviously it includes that, because we're also a human being, but it's much more than that. Being chosen was to be chosen for a unique mission, which was and is to bring God into the creation. Not only to be decent human beings, but to bring something into the world which transcends a human being, and that is God. The unique mission of the Jewish people is to bring, not only to perfect creation, to make sure that the world is a civil and civilized place and a good place to live in and a peaceful place to live in, rather to bring in something which transcends creation, to bring godliness within the creation. This idea, to know our mission, to know that we are chosen to bring godliness within the creation, is essential to know and to have before God gave us the Torah. The reason being, many people make a mistake that to keep the Torah is to live a Torah life is to be a decent human being. Now, obviously, it also includes that, and without that, there's nothing even to start. So, of course, we need to emphasize that aspect of it. Many mitzvahs of the Torah are about our relationship between us and a fellow human being, how we need to treat another human being. But we can't only have that, because it's much more than that. Even the mitzvahs which don't make sense, even the mitzvahs which have nothing to do with our relationship between another human being, but have to do with our relationship to God, those mitzvahs are just as important, because they are an integral part of our mission, because through keeping these mitzvahs we connect ourselves to God and we bring God into the creation. We need to know that living a Torah life doesn't only, again, I emphasize only because of course it also means that, but doesn't only mean to be nice to one another or to give charity to poor people. Of course it includes that, but it's also to keep those commandments which connect us to God, and therefore give us the ability to bring godliness within the creation, thereby fulfilling our special, unique mission of bringing the transcendent God into the creation. And that is what the pasuk means, that is what the verse means, V'goy kadosh, to be a holy nation. The word holy means to be separate, to be transcendent. What does it mean that we're a holy nation? It means that we have the ability to bring holiness into the creation, to bring God into the creation. And that also explains something very interesting about what happened at the giving of the Torah. And that is the 10 commandments. That is obviously what happened when God gave us the Torah. He gave us the entire Torah, but all included within 10 commandments. These 10 commandments are very interesting. In fact, they are in two extremes. On the one side, we have the commandments to believe in one God and you shouldn't serve idols and to keep Shabbos, seemingly very holy and sublime and spiritual commandments. On the other hand, we have do not kill, do not steal, do not lie in court. Very basic commandments which basically revolve around being a decent human being. And the reason why we have these two extremes is because the whole concept of the giving of the Torah is to combine the two. To know that our mission is, together with being decent human beings, is to keep the first half of the 10 commandments. To bring godliness within decency, within being just a regular human being. To bring God, believing in one God, not to serve idols, Shabbos, all these things which represent the transcendence of God into our life, into the way we act, into the way we deal with other people. That is the purpose of the giving of the Torah. We asked on Monday the famous question, what exactly happened? What was so unique about the giving of the Torah? The Jewish people kept the Torah before it was given. We gave one answer on Monday, but another explanation is that what changed by the giving of the Torah is that before they kept the mitzvahs, but it was more in a spiritual sense. It didn't permeate the physical world. Now that the Torah was given, we have the opportunity to take physical objects and make it holy. In other words, to be the chosen nation. To take God, to take godliness, which totally transcends creation, and to bring it into a physical world, to make this physical world a godly place and a home for God. Have a good day.